Okay, furnace is off now, so maybe it'll be easier to hear me. So yeah, I think if you guys, I thought this was a little bit cheaper from what I thought it was when I did the 90-foot turntable finished video. But besides being completely broke right now, this was definitely worth it. And it's exactly what I expected it to be, which is basically almost perfection. I was getting worried about the 90-foot one, even with the motorized kit on it and running it with a DC power pack. It was really difficult to line everything up. You're lining the tracks up with your service tracks or your roundhouse tracks or whatever it is. You really had to work at it. So that was a little bit frustrating, annoying, maybe, I don't know. The DCC one, completely programmable. It lines up 100% every time. Once it's programmed, it is, like I said, damn near perfection. It is a little bit finicky. The instructions were a little bit weird, like kind of reminded me of the 90-foot instructions. When I hooked this up, I hooked it up exactly as the picture showed, but it wasn't working. I'd get an engine on it, it would stop listening. It would just keep moving. And I realized after the fact that the picture was actually backwards. So I had wired it up backwards. Thankfully, I didn't blow anything up because I don't know what was going on. I'm using the same Atlas power pack to control the turntable itself. You need two power supply, basically, one for the track and one for the turntable. But I'm using the AC output on my power pack, and I measured it with the voltmeter, and it was showing 17.8 volts AC. And Walthers recommends nothing more than 18. So this Atlas power pack is, I would say, pretty good quality. I've never had any issues with it. I've been using this thing, well, since I first started running trains. So, but yeah, it powers up. I don't know if you can see that. Powers up pretty nice. And I've got it programmed for all the tracks. Super easy. I do recommend, though, however, it is a code 83 rail on the bridge. I use 100, so I had to actually file down all the ends of my 100 track, so it's not such a huge bump getting onto the bridge. Anyways, I do recommend, if you measure everything out like it says, don't glue anything else down besides, I would say, maybe, one track. Don't secure it, like, until you have your layout in place, or your turntable in place, and your roundhouse roughly where you want it. I've seen so many guys on YouTube measure everything out and glue it down, and then your turntable's in there and something's off by like an eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch. Like, for example, track 1 straight across or track 2 straight across, it'll be out by like, just a fraction. And that I would find is super annoying. So I've been super finicky in lining all the tracks up, and I've noticed with even the measurements I've taken, it's not straight for some reason. Even though I draw a line straight across, it's not straight. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I can't draw a straight line. But anyways, this is the instructions make it sound super confusing, and it's not. So if you guys are worried about it, it's really just gonna sit down for an hour or something and just read it and mess around with the controls. So right now I've got it programmed for track 2 on the head end, which is the operator cab. I didn't worry about programming a spot for the other side because they're perfectly lined up. So I got track 1 and track 2, which is track 1 and track 2. And head or tail, it doesn't matter. But all you gotta do is just, I want to go track 6 is the 080, or let's go 5, that's the train master. So you can go clockwise to 5, and you go ahead. Because I want the operator cab to be over there. It's flashing, does its thing, lines itself up, and way quieter. The DCC motor is way quieter than the motorized 90-foot turntable, which is also a bonus. So if I don't have the layout powered up right now, but if the layout's powered up, then I've got full control. Run that train master out, and then I want it to go to track 2. So I just click my track again, go counterclockwise to track 2. I don't need to make a full spin, because a full 180, because it's already going forward. So just hit head, and it'll go over to track 2, and I just drive it off into the yard. Bounces back. It's beautiful, beautiful. So you know what? I'll fire this thing up. I actually couldn't believe how big the box was this thing came in, by the way. But I'll fire up the layout and give you guys a little show on this thing running with engines on it. So yeah. Alright, so just a little overview on the turntable. It is a little bit different than previous versions of the 130-foot DCC turntable, which is I was not expecting when I bought it. So this doesn't have a metal rail going around the edge of the pit like I think older versions did. Rather, it's a gear system now that goes along the outside. So there's teeth on the outside of the pit, like all the way around. You can kind of see in between there, there's a plastic rail, and there's actually teeth all along the inside here. You still got to keep those clean, clear debris and stuff, obviously, but there's the motor drive is underneath the operator hut, and also the sensor in there as well. So that thing, it gets lost every now and then. The home sensor is actually conveniently under my track number 3, so it's pretty easy that if it does a full loop every now and then, it usually remembers where it is. Super easy to reprogram too if it does get lost. But it does retain all the information that you've programmed into it. So like I said, on top of the super quiet motor, it is, I think, actually better than previous versions just because of this new gearing system on the edge of the pit going around. I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, you can kind of see it, but I don't know. I think it's fantastic. Well, that's basically it that I've got to show you. I don't know. We run some more trains. But I think you guys see what I mean. It's so nice to have that ability, right? Like I can one way, the other way, or kids can be running on the outside, and I can be switching on the inside, and it doesn't matter what end you're on. It's you can switch freely either way you want. So yeah, I don't know. I think overall it's pretty wicked, and you make things work, right? Like, I'm sure you guys have all had to do that, sacrifice here or there, or add there and there, and yeah, just it's pretty cool, and then it comes down to what you guys like too. So I don't know. Hopefully got something out of it, or didn't bore you to death. I said I'm probably not going to do too much for buildings and everything, but I'll get some more videos up. This train's running. Kids made one the other day. it's kids. I'll have to see if I can get that up here too. But anyways, guys, if I think of anything else to talk about, I guess you'll have to wait until next month. So until then, take her easy.